what's the Wiz Khalifa thing called? Freedom Street Garage. We're here at SEMA 2023 at the AlphaRex USA booth with our Smokeshow Widebody Hellcat Charger, and we're gonna go over every single Hellcat here at the SEMA show, starting with the Smokeshow. Let's get into it. We're just gonna go front to back, guys, and we're gonna start under the hood of this thing because stock Hellcat motor, however, we've added a Corsa air intake, and this thing is an absolute beast. You can hear that supercharger with a very slight press of the gas, and it's very obnoxious, but it's in a good way. So next off, we've got the AlphaRex Nova Series projector headlights. Massive upgrade for this car. It totally changes the look of the front end, and it makes it even more aggressive with that wide body, the light sequence, all of it. Not to mention, coming around to the side, we've got the wide body. You need this wide body to fit wider meets. So this car has 305s in the front and it's got 335s in the back. And those tires are wrapped around American Racing TTF wheels. Right behind those is the 6-piston Brembo brakes, because lots of horsepower needs a lot of stopping power, and that's why this car comes with such massive brakes. Let's move on to the back because we've got a little bit more specialness back here going on. Now that we've made our way around back, you can see that the AlphaRex upgrade continues to the back. We've got the taillights as well, which basically completely blacks out the rear of this car, and it's got an epic light sequence. So that's a massive upgrade for the back of this car. It really ties it together, and I gotta mention the elephant in the room, the whole voice of this car, the MagnaFlow XMOD exhaust, guys. This exhaust allows you to not only upgrade the Catback and make the car louder, but it also allows you to swap out the resonators for an optional straight pipe with just a quick release V-band. So being able to do that on the floor in your garage is, that's huge for car enthusiasts that don't have a lift. Now that we've covered the best Hellcat here, let's move on and see what else SEMA has to offer for the Hellcat community. All right, first one we found in the wild, we found a Decepticon. So this is a Hellcat RedEye. Under the hood looks mostly stock. It's got an aftermarket intake, it's got a catch can, a fuse box cover, a couple of other little trinkets and dress up bits to make it look more appeasing under the hood, more appealing, whatever you want to say. It's got a little bit of aero going on here. I must address the elephant in the room, obviously the Decepticon wrap. The Transformers theme seems to be a constant thing with this car. Walking around, you can see here on the inside, they've got these custom floor mats that are all throughout the car, and they've got, once again, the Transformers logo on it. So once again, that's a huge theme with this car. Owner's Instagram right there. This wrap is pretty outrageous. I mean, looking up close, you can see that they also wrapped the jams. So the jams are the sections that are beneath the trunk, or the doors that open. So they also wrap that part. And then come over here, come look at this. Literally, most wrap companies won't do this, but you can see they wrap the inside of the door, and like I said, the door jams are also wrapped. So I mean, I think 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 on the... No, I wouldn't. No, I personally wouldn't, but I think 10 out of 10 on the execution and how clean the wrap is. If you're passionate about Decepticons, then you'd probably love this thing. So, speaking of the doors, I must mention the butterfly doors, Lambo doors. What do you call them? Comment below. I call them butterfly doors. That's what I've always called them, but most people will call them Lambo doors, just like Lamborghinis. So putting these on this thing essentially makes it more like a Lamborghini, right? Let's move on to the wheels, because these are pretty epic looking wheels. I'm already noticing something pretty aggressive about them. It looks like they're 3-piece wheels, which is, it's a pretty aggressive move. The brand is Variant Forged. I've never heard of Variant Forged, but this is a pretty cool design for a Hellcat. It fits the wide body well. Plus the anodized red look on the lip looks epic. Plus the gray on the face looks sick too. This car is really tied in together well. Like I said, I'm not crazy about the whole Transformers thing, but it is pretty cool that they tied the wrap with the wheels and the brakes and the interior. I give this car a 10 out of 10 on execution. Oh, sweet. We've got another Hellcat. This one's a narrow body, and it's absolutely slammed. Look at this thing, dude. So ours, we go like fender to tire, just a little bit above. This one is absolutely tucking the tire. The brakes look even bigger on this car for some reason. He's also got some aero bits coming around the front here. He's got like a extended front splitter with some canards on there, and they're made of carbon. Looks great. Carbon looks great on Hellcats. Just looks epic. Also, you've got the side skirts on here, or side skirt extensions also in carbon fiber. And not to mention, guys, these wheels are pretty sick too. They're BC forged wheels. I've heard of those before. Definitely Hellcat style. We all know it. Coming around the back here. Okay, yeah, the carbon trend is continuing here. We've got a pretty big and aggressive diffuser made of carbon once again. Okay, and I mean, the only thing I don't really like about this diffuser or this setup is that the exhaust tips are so sunken in, and not only are they sunken in, but they're the factory shape, so you can't even really see them. They almost just blend with the diffuser. It kind of needs some MagnaFlow. I think it needs MagnaFlow. This person, whoever owns this Hellcat, should hit up MagnaFlow to get an exhaust on this thing to fill up this diffuser. I'd say that's the only thing that's missing. Yeah.
MagnaFlow plug.
Quick MagnaFlow plug. All right, yeah, and then looks like it's got like a matte wrap, maybe a clear PPF or something like that over black, or maybe it's just a full wrap. And you've got some pretty aggressive like decals on the side here. I don't really, it's like thorns and roses. That's a hard pill to swallow for me, but kinda, but like not quite, you know?
Like Venom, Batman.
Yeah. But I mean, it is a Hellcat. It's a narrow body, but it's still a Hellcat. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of starting to like the narrow bodies, especially if it's red and stick shift. Like, it's just a good combo, you know? Oh, we've got a little Auraful next gen wrap film. So this is another like extreme wrap Hellcat. It seems like the Hellcat people really like to do extremely wild wraps on their cars. I don't know what it is. It just seems to, they all flock to it. So this one is a proper candidate for the outrageous Hellcat wrap Olympics of 2023. But yeah, I would give this one a 6 out of 10 because I don't really like the wrap. Here's a good one. Start recording. So we've got what looks like a Hellcat RedEye. The way you can tell if it's a RedEye is the wing. Basically, the normal Hellcat, the wing stops here. The RedEye, it goes a little bit further down. This thing looks like it's got some stuff going on with the body kit. You can see the diffuser is painted. It looks like it still has the stock style exhaust, but that diffuser looks like it kind of wraps around a little bit further, or maybe it's just painted or something. I don't know. It looks a bit different. And then coming around to the side here, actually we'll go on this side because the lighting's better. You can see it's got some pretty massive wheels. It looks like they're maybe two-piece. I'm gonna guess the brand is Lexani, because it's got it right here and then on the fender. And you can see here what I was saying earlier about the rocker panel. It's like, it's extended a bit more than the Hellcats typically have. I believe this is usually smooth on the Hellcat. So it seems like they added a little bit of width down there, which I think looks cool over the factory look. Let's go around front, see if there's anything special there. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, continuing that painted kit look, or maybe if it's a body kit or something like that, you can see the front splitter is also painted. And then typically on the Hellcat, the splitter will kind of break apart right here, but this goes all the way up and meets with the flare on the fender. So that's interesting. It seems like this car is subtly modified. Wheels, tires, slight addition to the wide body kit. I'd give it a 6 out of 10 because there's not much going on with it, but it's still a Hellcat RedEye, so badass. Jeez, dude. It's 420 somewhere. Oh my gosh, dude. We need to get over there. All right, guys. This is the cream of the crop right here. We just found a Demon 170 at the Mickey Thompson booth here at SEMA. If you don't know anything about this car, which you should, this Demon 170 is 1,025 horsepower from the factory from Dodge, and the 170 signifies the alcohol content in the ethanol. So this car is made to run on ethanol from the factory. Just fill it up, go run it. It comes with slicks and skinnies, and I'm sure Mickey Thompson, let's take a look at it closer. Yeah, of course, there's Mickey Thompson's on it. That's why it's here. But you can see those brakes, once again, the classic 6 pistons coming around back. I mean, this car comes factory with a drag pack, so you can see it's got, you know, this small wheel out back so you can fit a meteor sidewall tire, and of course, you know, the wide body in the back only, you'll notice, so that you can fit big wide slicks. But then up front, take a look. There's no fender flare on the front because you run skinnies for this car. You don't need a wide track for the front. You need that out back. That's why it's got the flare there. So this car is epic, and it's cool to see one in person, you know? Oh, okay, so look at that hood. You can see the difference between the normal Hellcats and the Demon 170. It's got this massive opening in the hood there, and it's got 2 like kind of vertical splitters to kind of split the air up. You can see they're shaped like this. They're shaped like that, so that it cuts through the air. Airflow stuff, aerodynamics, you know. I mean, the splitter looks very similar to the normal Hellcat one, but it's got a cutout in the front versus the Hellcat is just all solid all the way across. Slight differences. Oh, and then not to mention the badge on the side is a demon instead of being a cat. And it also says 170 in the badge, which is really cool. It's a little tight, so we can't really make our way back there. Plus, it's really dark back there. But this car is epic, and it's pretty cool to see. I think this car, I would rate this car a 3 out of 10 because you can't drive it on the streets. No, I'm just kidding. I give this car a 9.765 because it's not that practical for the street. I like street driving as much as I like track driving, so I would want to drive this on the street all the time, but it's just not meant to do that. Plus, I personally would want a car that has the wide body on all 4 corners, so that definitely, you know, that docks the score a little bit. But yeah, 9.7. That's still a W. Wow, so this one's actually really unique. I know we said we were gonna cover every Hellcat. This is not a Hellcat. However, it's a Scatpack with a Pro Charger on it. So it's a supercharged 6.4 liter HEMI, which is a bigger motor than the Hellcat. This is a 6.4 versus the Hellcat's got a 6.2. And then it has a supercharger. So would you call this the equivalent of a Hellcat, an aftermarket Hellcat? I don't know. Let's take a look at the spec sheet they've got conveniently listed out right here. So it's a 700 plus horsepower 2020 Dodge Challenger Scatpack with a shaker. So that's pretty cool. I would love to see something like this go against the Hellcat. I'm sure they would go head to head. I don't know if this is wheel horsepower or if this is at the crank, but
What does it say?
it says just 700 plus horsepower. It's also automatic, so
It's probably like 701.
probably 701. Probably like really, it's probably really like 500. If you know, you know. But yeah, this is a Pro Charger, so if you guys don't know what this is, this essentially isn't like the Hellcat style supercharger. This actually, like the Hellcat style, it sits on top. It's a root style blower, and it sits on top of the engine, in between it, and it, you know, forces air into the engine like we all know it. It's got rotors inside of it. However, this one is more like a turbo. However, instead of being spun up by the exhaust, it's being spun by a belt from the engine. So it's basically a belt-driven turbocharger. Yeah, I would give this car I'd give this a 7 out of 10. It's creative, you know, 700 horsepower from a Scatpack, Pro-Charged Scatpack. Pretty sick. Solid transmission. It's, you know, not that much different, but it's unique because, you know, they put the time into adding that and adding the amount of horsepower that's lost from it not being a Hellcat, but then you also get a bigger motor, 6.4, you know? So, yeah, 7 out of 10. I almost walked right past this car. This is actually a Hellcat RedEye. Yeah, it's a Hellcat RedEye, Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat RedEye Custom. So still got the 6.2 liter, 797 horsepower, but if you look at the front, you can see there's a little bit of a difference over the normal Hellcats. There's a lot of carbon fiber, and it's a custom carbon fiber body, making this car look like an old school Cuda. Let's take a look at the side. The wheels, they look like Hellcat wheels, but they look like they're a little bit different because they look like they're custom machined. They have a Hellcat logo in the center, so I can't exactly tell what wheels they are, but they're definitely custom, you can tell. Right here, you can really see part of the carbon fiber body. It's like the car is painted, but then it's like there's still part of it exposed, and then it's purple. which is pretty epic. And then coming around to the back, let's see what's going on over here. So we've got, oh, okay, so the taillights on this car make it look like an old school Cuda, which is pretty cool. That's the whole like concept of this car. You can see like the body is completely different. It's all made out of carbon fiber. The front end's different. The taillights are different. The entire rear is different. This bumper looks more old school, and it's kind of crazy to see this on a 2022 Hellcat RedEye. Like, what? I'm not crazy about the mirror location. It almost looks a little bit wonky, but still pretty sick. The execution's pretty wild for this car.
All right, well, what's the rating?
The rating, I would probably rate this car at, like, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Reasoning, it's high. It's high on the scale of, you know, builds, because, you know, you see a lot of Hellcats that are just bolt-ons, and there's nothing wrong with that because these cars do well with just bolting things on, put some wheels, an intake, and exhaust, and drive it, and they do great. But there is a lot you can do with them, and this car takes that to a totally different level. So, you know, I think I'm actually going to raise that from 8. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I like Cudas, and Hellcat swapping a Cuda would be wild, but body swapping a RedEye isn't that wild because it's still a modern car. So, I mean, actually, no, that's pretty wild. This one may not look like it, but this is actually a Hellcat. This is a Hellcat Durango. It's got the Hellcat engine in it. Of course, this one is a full-on drag car. I believe this car is faster than 8 seconds in the quarter mile. It's 1,600 horsepower. Check this thing out. Excuse me. Pardon me. Take a look under there. You can see obviously it's got an upgraded blower, and the entire engine's upgraded, but skinnies in the front, drag racing brakes, and look on the side, it's got the Hellcat badge because it's a Hellcat still. But on the inside, you can see everything's cut out, and it's got full tube chassis. So this thing is not really a Durango anymore, but it is a Durango, and it's definitely a Hellcat. So very epic, and I felt like this car should absolutely be featured because I've seen this online. I know it's an absolute beast, so it's fun to see it here at SEMA. And oh man, looking in the back, we've got the cage continuing all the way back here, full carbon tubs, and oh my god, this thing is epic. Look at the NOS bottle back there. It's got a NOS bottle, full tube chassis, and 1,600 horsepower, but it's also got back seats. Somehow they still put back seats back there, and imagine riding in this thing. It'd be epic. I would totally ride in it. This one's an absolute beast. Look at the tires in the back. Of course, it's got slicks, Mickey Thompson's, because it's a drag car, and yeah, absolute beast. Oh, did it? Okay.
Great.
I would rate this, man, it wouldn't be anything less than a 10 out of 10 because, I don't know, this is just speaking my language, and like doing all this to a Durango is absolutely mad. And it's fast as too, so, wow, okay, so that's more than a Hellcat would make to the wheels.
Well, they say 7, but to the wheel,
yeah, no, that's definitely more than a Hellcat makes to the wheels. I can tell you.
If we were racing a Hellcat right now, he's going to spin for a couple seconds, and by then, we're gone.
Yeah. So it's a 5.7 with a Hellcat supercharger on top.
Correct.
Stock 5.7, and it's got a all-wheel drive drivetrain behind it, and it pushes 600 horsepower to all 4 wheels.
All 4.
That's outrageous. And it's got a column shifter, and it was an Ex Police car.
Because the only column was for the police, because if they had someone in the back, they don't want them messing with it.
Exactly.
And the seats, we had to have all new interior because they had the bolster seats because all their stuff.
Yeah.
So we have all new interior.
And is that it taking off back there?
That's it. That's the whole concept right now.
Oh, that's epic. Yes. Like, not only does it have a Hellcat blower and is it all-wheel drive, but it also has like slightly knobby tires. It looks really cool. It's like, you don't need to lower something like this because like you want it to be functional, be able to go over everything. I'm sure this thing can probably go over some stuff that's kind of steep, and like, I don't know, it's just awesome because then you have 600 to the wheels, and you know, it's not quite a Hellcat, but there are Hellcat badges. That's what got my attention. So I found out it's not actually a Hellcat, but it is a 5.7 with the Hellcat blower. So, I mean, I think it's really cool. It's got the ski box on top, and it has the skis, and it's wide body. What do you think? Does this get the Hellcat card? Does it get the Hellcat pass to have the badges on this car, even though it's a 5.7? drop a comment. I do notice though, like it does have 600 horsepower, however, it does have the stock brakes for a 5.7 car, so they're just standard, you know, cast brakes. I feel like such an upgrade does deserve bigger brakes, like Brembo's, the 6 pistons from a Hellcat, obviously. This doesn't have that, so that could be kind of sketchy, and that's probably an upgrade that they're looking to do, probably at some point in the future, to make this thing more confidence-inspiring in driving it, because the Hellcats come with great brakes, you know, so it'd be good to throw something like that on here. Oh, he's got the Anderson Composites carbon trunk, so that's a cool touch for this car. And then in the back, got a diffuser, modified exhaust, of course. This thing's pretty sick. I mean, for an ex-cop car, I think it's pretty dope. And yeah, I would drive it. Rating, I would rate this car at a, let me think about it really quick, all right? Okay, there's a couple factors here, right? I like the car. I think it's sick. However, it's not a Hellcat, and it has Hellcat badges, so that takes away from the score significantly, okay? You can't just put a Hellcat supercharger on it and then say that it's a Hellcat, because that's not how it works. It's not a Hellcat. So that does take away from the score a little bit, but like I said, I do like the car, so I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 for execution, and you know, it's wide body and it's all-wheel drive, so it can get out of the hole really fast. Plus the supercharger on top, it's epic. However, it's not a Hellcat, and they put Hellcat badges on it, so this gets a 6 out of 10. I told you, it docks that score significantly. Don't up-badge your car that's not in what the model actually is, guys. Don't do it.
All right, what do you think about this one, Alex?
I mean, just checking it out, I don't see too much done under the hood, but could be more. I don't know. It has a pretty extreme wrap. We've been noticing lots of trends of the Hellcats having extreme wraps, and this one definitely doesn't fall short. The tires are pretty wide. I mean, they stick out, you know, pretty significantly from the car. Plus the wheels. Stock wheels, looks like. It's got some pretty fancy tires in the back. Looks like Nitto. What are these? NT555, so pretty decently mild tire. The wrap is pretty outrageous in my opinion. Plus the windows are wrapped too. So how do you see out of this thing? How do you see out of a car that has wrapped windows? I don't know. It's a Hellcat, but it's a narrow body. And I'm not really a big fan of narrow bodies. Like they work, they're the same thing, but just that wide body just hits, you know, we all know that. I do like the powder coated, like glittery supercharger like cover. That thing looks pretty sick like that. Aside from that, I mean, I'm not too crazy about the extreme wraps. Give it a 4 out of 10. Yeah. So we found another Demon, the second Demon here that I've seen at SEMA show. So this is 2 of 2. I'm pretty sure this is the only other one here. This is actually Jay Leno's Demon, which is pretty epic because it's Jay Leno's 1,025 horsepower Demon 170 from Dodge. So the reason why this car is epic, one more time, is because it's got, you know, the 6.2 liter supercharged V8, but it's also, it comes from the factory to run on ethanol. I've already gone over all this, so if you've been watching, you already know this stuff, but let's just take a look at this thing. It's got a different paint color. The one we looked at earlier was very, very similar to this, but just slightly different color. And this one has a little bit of goodies on the inside, such as it's got like a harness bar and some racing harnesses, because this one probably went racing at some point. You can see on the hood, it's got alcohol injected, kind of like engraved into the air intake, not the air intake, but the air scoop, which is pretty sick. Looks good. And one thing I didn't touch on the Mickey Thompson car versus this car, that I'm noticing this one also has, is the carbon fiber wheels. So if you notice, the lip on the wheel is carbon fiber. So that shaves a couple pounds off of the wheels where it would otherwise be, you know, it'd be aluminum. So it's pretty cool that they have carbon fiber on these from the factory. Apparently it's a really expensive option, but this one has it, and the 2 that we've seen today have it. So that's pretty cool. Once again, the 170 on the Demon logo on the side, and noticing no flares in the front. We've only got flares in the back because you got to fit wider tires, and you don't really need that up front because this car comes with slicks and it comes with skinnies, so it doesn't really need to have the flares up front. I like to have the flares in the front and the back so that, you know, you can drive it on the street and it just looks more put together. But you see something like this on the street, you instantly know that it's a 170 and that it's missing those front flares for a reason.
Would you drive this Jay Leno 170?
Would I drive it? Hell yeah, I would drive it. Are you kidding me? It's a Demon 170.
What would you rate it?
I would rate it 10 out of 10 just because it's Jay Leno's. Like, it's very similar to the other one we saw earlier, but just because it's Jay's car, gotta rate it as high as that can be because he's a legend. So, oh, is that a Hellcat? Oh wait, no, that's just a set of taillights. Oh, is that a Hellcat Challenger? Oh no, that's just a set of amber headlights. Dang it. I thought there would be more down here. I guess there's not. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Those were the top Hellcats at SEMA 2023. Drop a comment below. Let us know what your favorite was. Now it's time to head over to the Optima skid pad and watch some drifting. Thanks for watching.